You need to watch this if you crave chills down your spine. Welcome to Soul Studios. Here, true crime meets the unknown. Suspense lurks in every shadow, and supernatural forces whisper from the dark. We craft chilling, edge-of-your-seat short stories inspired by the eerie, the unexplained, and the most haunting mysteries. 3 new stories drop every week, each one darker than the last. Are you ready to step inside? Subscribe now before the next story finds you.
After devastating floods sweep through the quiet town of Clearwater, something horrific emerges beneath the old stone bridge. Officer Claire Thompson, a dedicated investigator haunted by her own past, discovers that this isn't an isolated tragedy, it's a chilling secret buried deep within the town she loves. As more unsettling truths surface, Claire must confront an unthinkable darkness hidden in plain sight. But some secrets refuse to remain submerged, and once revealed, they threaten to consume everything and everyone in their path. If you crave true feeling horror that grips you from the start and refuses to let go, hit subscribe, turn notifications on, and join us at Soul Studios, where every hidden truth will leave you questioning what lies beneath the surface. Officer Claire Thompson's boots sloshed through muddy floodwater as she sprinted toward the old stone bridge. The river had swollen beyond its banks, turning roads into currents. Her flashlight beam cut through the downpour and caught a glimpse of something pale bobbing beneath the bridge's arch. At first she thought it was debris, maybe a mannequin or a deer carcass swept along. But as she stepped closer, lightning flashed, snapped, and illuminated the unmistakable contour of a human arm reaching from the torrent. Claire's breath caught in her throat. "Oh my God," she whispered, voice lost to the howling wind. Fighting panic, she raised her radio. "Dispatch, I have a body here," she shouted over the storm, unsure if she was heard. Another lightning flash revealed the corpse more clearly. A grey, lifeless face, eyes milky and unseeing, half submerged in the churning water. Her heart hammered as she fought down a surge of nausea. This wasn't an accident or a drowned flood victim. A rope was coiled around the corpse's torso, tied to a cinder block that bobbed into view before the current pulled it under. Someone had tried to anchor this body out of sight. Claire staggered backward, one hand brushing the cold stone bridge pillar for support. In the strobing flashes of lightning, an awful truth hung in the air. The dead woman at her feet might not be the only one. As rain lashed down and floodwaters roared, Claire felt dread coiling in her gut. How many secrets were buried beneath this bridge? By dawn, the floodwaters had begun to recede, leaving the town of Clearwater shaking. The old stone bridge stood battered but intact above the muddy river. Claire, exhausted and soaked, watched as a recovery crew pulled the waterlogged corpse onto the bank. In the grey morning light, the victim was clearly a young woman. Even as Claire's fellow officers murmured about a flood casualty, Claire's gut told her this was something far worse. Sheriff Danvers joined her, eyes grave. They had never dealt with a murder like this in Clearwater. As paramedics covered the body, the town's longtime mayor Walter Reeves arrived. Mayor Reeves, silver-haired, charismatic and revered by all, had been out coordinating flood relief since midnight. He approached with genuine sorrow etched on his face. "My God, a life lost," Mayor Reeves said softly, shaking his head. He placed a comforting hand on Claire's shoulder. "You found her? I'm so sorry, dear. Are you holding up all right?" His concern was paternal and sincere, easing some of the chill in Claire's bones. She managed a nod. While the mayor spoke quietly with the sheriff, Claire wandered nearer the bridge's understructure, now exposed by the storm. Water drips from the bridge. Debris and mud clung to the abutments. Something small and metallic glinted in the muck. Claire crouched and retrieved a delicate silver charm bracelet caked in silt. Her breath caught. She recognized the hummingbird charm. It belonged to her childhood friend Rose Parker, who had vanished 10 years ago without a trace. Claire's heart pounded in her ears. She sealed the bracelet in an evidence bag with trembling hands. Rose's disappearance had haunted Claire for years, and now it seemed Rose had been here, under this bridge all along. Swallowing hard, Claire cast a glance toward Mayor Reeves and the sheriff. They stood a few yards away, the mayor's kind face drawn with concern as he surveyed the scene. Claire wasn't sure what frightened her more, the fact that a beloved friend might be among the dead, or the dark realization that someone had been hiding victims right under the town's nose. As Mayor Reeves caught her eye, giving a reassuring nod, Claire forced a tight smile. But inside, her sense of unease deepened. The flood had unveiled a horror that had festered in their idyllic town for years, and she silently vowed to uncover the truth of what and who was beneath the bridge. Over the next 2 days, Clearwater's worst fears were confirmed. Investigators dredging the mud beneath the bridge uncovered more human remains, bones and decayed fragments of lives lost. By the time they finished, at least 8 bodies had been found hidden in the earth and debris. Each belonged to someone who had vanished from the region over the past decades. The town was in an uproar of grief and confusion. How had this nightmare gone unnoticed for so long? Each discovery felt like a blow to Claire's chest. She helped catalogue evidence as best she could. Waterlogged shoes, scraps of clothing, a rusted locket. One of the skeletons was quickly identified as Rose, confirmed by dental records and that hummingbird charm Claire found. The realization made Claire's hands tremble with rage and sorrow. Her dear friend had been beneath this bridge for 10 years, while the town moved on above. On the 3rd night, Claire volunteered for guard duty at the bridge site. She couldn't rest anyway. The air was thick with the odor of damp earth and something sour beneath it, the lingering scent of death. A row of covered remains lay on the bank, awaiting transport at first light. Claire stood near them under the arch of the bridge, flashlight in hand. The night was eerily quiet. Even the crickets were silent, as if the weight of the tragedy had stilled nature itself. She almost jumped when she heard footsteps on the gravel behind her. It was Mayor Reeves, carrying a thermos. "I figured you could use something warm," he said gently. He poured her a cup of chamomile tea right there by the river. Claire accepted it with a nod of thanks, the warmth welcome against the chill autumn air. They stood in the lantern glow under the bridge's stone vault. The mayor's gaze drifted over the dark water. "I've lived here all my life," he said quietly. "Never imagined something like this could happen in our town." His voice was heavy with sadness. Claire studied his lined face, lit in flickering orange. He looked genuinely heartbroken. "We'll find who did this," Claire replied, though her voice wavered. "They'll answer for every life they took." Mayor Reeves sighed. "I hope you're right." He put a hand on her shoulder, the gesture almost fatherly. "Don't stay out here all night, Claire. You need rest. This burden isn't yours alone." With that, he offered a sad smile and turned to leave. Claire watched him go, the tea cooling in her cup. Something about his words tugged at her. This burden isn't yours alone. It was an odd thing to say. She couldn't shake the subtle feeling that there was more behind his sadness, some private anguish. After the mayor left, Claire remained under the bridge, the darkness pressing in. She shone her flashlight along the stone wall and pillars. In the harsh light, she noticed deep scratches on one of the pilings, as if someone had clawed at the stone. A chill prickled her skin. Perhaps a victim had fought for freedom here in the dark. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed in the arch. Water dripping from the bridge, or was it a voice? Claire held her breath. She could swear she heard a soft carry through the still air like a distant cry. She swept her flashlight around. Nobody, just the drip of water and the rustle of leaves. Her nerves were raw. She stepped back from the arch, her pulse quickening. Telling herself it was only her mind playing tricks, Claire retreated to her patrol car, leaving the bridge's shadows behind. That night she barely slept, jolting awake from nightmares of pale hands reaching from floodwaters and voices gurgling her name. With the gruesome discoveries under the bridge, Claire's mind raced to connect dots. She spread out missing person files across her desk at the station. The victims dated back decades, their disappearances spanning nearly 30 years. almost exactly the length of Mayor Reeves's tenure in office. He had been a pillar during each investigation, comforting families, leading search parties. The thought was unthinkable, yet it gnawed at her. Could Walter Reeves himself be involved? Claire's heart pounded at the mere consideration. She kept the idea to herself, knowing how crazy it would sound without proof. Determined to find answers, Claire visited the town's archives after hours. She combed through old engineering plans and council records. Finally, in a dusty binder from 1988, she found a notation about the old bridge's construction. A small service alcove built into the foundation, accessible by a padlocked hatch on the west bank. The project had been overseen by then-new Mayor Reeves. Claire's pulse quickened. A hidden space under the bridge was the perfect place to stash victims. Just as she photocopied the document, the lights in the archive flickered and went out. Claire frowned and tried the door. It had been locked from the outside. Before panic set in, she smelled smoke. A thin wisp curled under the door. Someone had set the archives on fire. Claire threw her weight against the door, coughing as smoke seeped in. After a few desperate rams, the old wooden door frame splintered and burst open. She stumbled into the hall, eyes burning. A trash bin fire blazed near the stairwell, but she grabbed an extinguisher and smothered the flames amid ringing alarms. Within minutes, the small fire was contained. Library staff and a couple of town officials arrived, all alarmed. Last to appear was Mayor Reeves, tie askew and face etched with worry. "Thank goodness you're all right," he exclaimed, rushing to Claire. He must have been nearby to arrive so fast. As he gripped her shoulders in relief, Claire caught a whiff of gasoline on his clothes. She pulled back, heart hammering. Mayor Reeves's expression was full of concern, but something behind his eyes looked off, calculating perhaps. In that moment, breathing hard in the smoky hallway, Claire's last doubts evaporated. It was him. It had to be him. Claire said nothing about the gasoline. She managed to explain that she'd been doing research when the fire broke out. The mayor nodded sympathetically, but his jaw clenched at the sight of the records she'd gathered. That night, Claire armed herself and decided on a course of action. The hunter hiding beneath the bridge had tried to flush her out or kill her. He knew she was close to the truth. She realized with icy resolve that she might be the only one willing to see the beloved Walter Reeves for what he truly was. And she intended to stop him before he could slip away or silence her for good. Close to midnight, Claire returned to the old bridge. A faint lantern glow flickered beneath the arch. Someone was there. Gun drawn, Claire crept closer. Through the open maintenance hatch in the stone foundation, she saw Mayor Reeves crouching inside the alcove. The lantern light revealed piles of mildewed clothes and keepsakes around him, trophies from the victims. Claire's stomach turned. "Step away, Walter," she ordered, voice cold and steady as she aimed at him. The mayor whirled, eyes wide. Seeing the gun, he slowly raised his hands. "I never wanted you involved, Claire," he said softly, almost regretfully. In that moment, with darkness behind him and stolen remnants of lives at his feet, his familiar face looked like that of a stranger. "All this time it was you," Claire rasped. "Why? How could you do this?" Mayor Reeves lowered his hands slightly, a shadow of a smile on his lips. "To protect Clearwater," he murmured. "Every sacrifice kept our town safe from greater evils. I carried that burden so no one else would have to." Claire's anger flared. "You're a murderer, not a hero. Now drop the knife." She'd spotted the hunting knife strapped to his belt. His expression hardened. "Everything I did was for them, and for you," he hissed. In a sudden blur, he snatched the knife and lunged. Claire's shot rang out, the bullet grazing his arm. The mayor ploughed into her, knocking the pistol from her grip. They slammed against the opening of the alcove. Claire grunted as the knife slashed a hot line across her shoulder. She drove her knee into his stomach, and he reeled back with a snarl. Breathing hard, Claire planted herself between him and the only exit. Walter's eyes were wild, realizing she would not back down. With a roar, he rushed her again. At the last second, Claire sidestepped on the slick mud. The mayor's momentum sent him stumbling past her and out of the alcove, straight over the ledge. Claire staggered to the edge in time to see Walter hit the dark river below. For an instant he surfaced, arms flailing in the surging current. "Help me," he sputtered, no trace of his former composure. Claire's heart wrenched, but she did not look away. The river's black water swirled and the mayor's head disappeared beneath it. He did not surface again. Chest heaving, Claire sank to her knees on the wet ground. Far off, sirens began to wail. Backup was coming. It was over. Walter Reeves, the town's beloved mayor and hidden monster, was gone. In the silence under the bridge, Claire sobbed once, a mix of relief and sorrow, and waited for the dawn. In the days that followed, Walter Reeves's body was never found. Many townsfolk refused to believe their beloved mayor had been a murderer. Despite the evidence from beneath the bridge, some insisted the real killer must have been someone else. Claire's injuries and her testimony were met with doubt by those who preferred the comforting lie. Disheartened, Claire resigned from the force and decided to leave Clearwater. The evil was gone, but the town she grew up in felt alien now, divided by denial and grief. On her final evening before leaving, Claire stopped at the old bridge one last time. The bridge had been quietly repaired as if to cover the stain of its past. At twilight, she placed a single white rose at the water's edge in memory of Rose and all the lost souls. The river flowed gentle and dark. Claire closed her eyes, whispering goodbye. A faint ripple sounded under the arch. Claire opened her eyes, the hair on her arms raising. From the shadow beneath the bridge came the wet of footsteps emerging onto the bank. Heart lurching, Claire shone her flashlight toward the noise. The beam caught a glimpse of muddy, dripping trousers and a familiar silver-haired figure stepping out of the darkness. Claire's scream echoed across the deserted riverbank and then abruptly cut off. Later that night, a patrol car was found idling by the bridge, driver's door open. There was no sign of Claire Thompson. Only her white rose lay in the mud, petals drifting in the black water. The old bridge still stands in Clearwater, quiet and unassuming, but it is a silence heavy with unanswered horrors. Some nights, long after midnight, locals whisper that a solitary figure can be seen pacing beneath the arch, or that faint pleas echo over the water where the missing once lay. The town carries on, but the darkness beneath the bridge endures, a grim reminder that some secrets refuse to stay buried. Beneath the bridge, some secrets should never see the light of day.
Every story has an end, but here, the mysteries never stop. Thank you for watching and being a part of this journey into the unknown. Your support keeps these stories alive, and there's plenty more waiting for you. We drop 3 new stories every week, so if you crave suspense, the unexplained and the downright chilling, make sure you're subscribed and ready for what's next. Until then, keep your lights on, your doors locked, and remember, some stories stay with you long after they're told.